Another one from a federation. Tama ba ako? Yung isa, clear na ba siya?
There's no federation involved.
Yung hindi, what I mean, athlete, the athlete, NSA, following one athlete with an NSA. Tama ba ako?
No. Regarding that one, the fourth action or the fourth
Okay.
CAR,
Okay.
it's results management, but the technicality of it is the jurisdiction because
Okay.
professional athlete siya, PHINADO only handles amateur athletes based on who PSC handles.
Oh,
So, because of that technicality involved, that's why it malapit na siya ma-check off because of that reason, because of
in
technicality.
other words, wala kayong jurisdiction
Yes.
over this one case.
Yes, wala dapat kaming jurisdiction over.
Okay, so in other words, mutanagadan. Secondly, again, backtracking a little, is the fact that up to now, kasi yung bang there is no, just for the record, no suspension, no sanction, no punitive action, even as this case is going on. Kasi I think based on what we are familiar with some other federations, CAS has to accept it first, correct? Yung kailangang tanggapin ng CAS itong dispute ninyo for them to act on the case. Of course, there will be legal fees involved. Tama ba ako? Si Sir Paolo yata is familiar with it.
Yes. So as of now, si WADA has elevated it to CAS.
Yeah.
Right. And to your question, yes, there will be a process involved. Normally, there's like 21 days, from what you understand, for the case to be prepared. But based on our discussions with WADA Asia, Cerrado, and even some resources that we have, no, baka by the time it gets there, we might be already in the clear with regards to the four corrective action reports.
Okay.
So, kung ikaw yung husgado, di ba, and then everything is checked out, we feel that, they might pull out the case.
So there is a possibility,
There is a possibility.
that it may not go that far.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good.
Good morning po. Ivan Swing po from the Daily Tribune. Sirs, if I may to ask lang rin po,
I can hear you again.
yeah. I'd like to ask din po, siguro for clarification sakes, how did this whole fiasco happen and ano po yung mga measures na kailangan po ma-implement to make sure that this doesn't happen again in the future?
It's not really a fiasco. Just a clarification with that. Kasi when you say code compliance, it's more of WADA making sure that the signatories are following the code. So it's more of an audit, in a way. And their last resort will always be suspension, just so that the NADO or the anti-doping organization can strengthen their operations, so that everything will be smoothed out. And if there are any ways that WADA can help in strengthening the organization, that's how they do the process. So every time there's a new code, there's always a code compliance questionnaire involved for all the anti-doping organizations.
Chairman,
Just to add also, they're also comparing us to the other countries, okay, which have like 22 plantilla positions. Right now, we only have one plantilla position in PHINADO and one, which is consultant, and then two COS. So two plantilla positions. And the other countries have like 20 plus plantilla positions, okay? They're also comparing us to funding. Okay, we asked for 48. PHINADO asked 48 million for this year, and we only received 10 million. For their plans for the year, when we looked at the plans for this year on the testing alone, umabot ng 12 to 14 million already. So if you can say kulang na kulang. Alright?
Sir, Chairman, ask ko lang rin po in light of the situation po, were there any NSAs din po na nag-reach out about this situation? Kasi I understand there are some NSAs na may Paris-bound athletes din na maglalaro this year.
Well, si EJ naman, EJ Opiana was the first one to call me. Pero I assured him na we will help PHINADO in fixing this. Personally, I reached out to from POC Richard Gomez, who actually helped me find the boxer, and then I also had calls from POC also Al Panlilio, and the text was basically how can we help, and from SBP Erica D, who is helping us with the lawyer that is familiar with CAS and WADA, so he's actually helping PHINADO out right now.
Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Dito Redo po sa Abante. Nathan, based on dun sa sinabi mo, we have a code compliance team.
Code compliance team is WADA, basically. So they're the ones checking if nafa-follow ng anti-doping organization yung WADA code.
So, paki-clear naman kung yung tinatanong nila sa atin is yung pro, not the amateur.
One of the corrective actions yun, because napasa yung case na yun sa PHINADO. However, looking at the case, wala dapat jurisdiction ng PHINADO kasi professional athlete siya. So, because of that, and based on the 2015 rules of PHINADO, kasi 2016 nangyari yun, so we're following the 2015 rules of PHINADO, talagang walang jurisdiction ang PHINADO regarding professional athletes.
How would we explain that to WADA? Kasi yung WADA, meron silang general meeting sa March 11 na unless na settle tong non-conformities natin, i-hand out nila yung consequences na binigay din nila sa Angola. So, paano natin i-clarify ito ngayon before March 11?
Actually, everything is being clarified. We are talking with WADA every week. We have meetings with WADA, and together with PSC and POC, we usually meet them, and then we update them as well regarding that matter. Right now, there are legal steps that WADA legal team is suggesting for us to do, and that's why I said kanina, in 1 to 2 weeks time, it will be checked off because of that.
Chairman, please.
With regards to the boxer, he was never a national in the national training pool. The event was a pro, and he was a pro during that time. Now we explained it to WADA, and we also sent the bylaws of GAB, and we also the bylaws of PSC, which strictly states that PSC is amateur and GAB is for pro athletes.
Chairman, right now po ba may communications na po ba tayo na WADA with this situation natin?
Sir, bali ganito, no, as mentioned by Nathan, we've been in weekly discussion with WADA, with Cerrado, on how to check off all the corrective action reports. And yun nga, 2 na sa 4 checked off na with regards to the boxer, given na yung jurisdiction should be under GAB and not under PSC. And we've submitted a position paper. PHINADO submitted a position paper already with regards to that. So, and that came from the advice of WADA Legal, na if we can submit that, so as this is one of the measures that we're taking para ma-resolve na yung 4th point.
Nathan, last na lang. Kasi isa lang talaga yung ina-accept ng WADA na national organization. So that is PHINADO. So yung GAB, hindi siya pa pwedeng pumasok sa WADA. Kasi pro siya. But ang representation natin dito is yung Pilipinas eh. Hindi yung GAB, hindi yung PSC, hindi yung yung nire-represent ng PHINADO is yung Pilipinas. So magkakaproblema talaga tayo ulit once na meron na naman na nag-positive either sa pro or kahit sa amateur. Paano nyo ngayon titingnan yung situation na ganyan na kayo lang yung ina-accredit ng ng WADA?
Yeah, well, in that case, actually, the results management case is a special case. Because one, it was tested not here in the Philippines, but outside Philippines. When it tested positive, pinasa na lang yung case sa PHINADO because Filipino siya. But then again, jurisdiction, babalik dun sa technicalities nga. So, hindi dapat siya ma-fall under PHINADO. So, yeah.
Chairman, good morning po. Yung National Sports Academy, nai-enjoy po nila yung autonomy with regard sa budget. May sarili silang budget. Is there any chance or matulungan yung PHINADO na magkaroon din sila ng hiwalay na as an entity na hiwalay na? So, may sarili silang budget na kakakabuhay.
PSC is actually working on it. We're meeting BPM po on Friday to help us out with the plantilla positions and the funding po.
Good morning, sir. I'm Joey Peter of the Philippine Star. Yung question na to, kahit sino, kung PHINADO, Nathan, or Chairman, or Mr. Tatay. Kasi, kumbaga we've been given like a year, tapos yung case na mayari pa ng 2015-16, correct if I'm wrong. Tapos, Chairman mentioned na under staff ng PHINADO, under budget ng PHINADO. So what needs to be done? Kasi purely, parang basically you're saying this is an administrative not mistake ang issue na kasi hindi naman pala sa PSC yung problema, pro pala yun. So kulang lang ng tao, parang yung sinasabi na kulang lang ng tao, kaya hindi naayos agad na kahit na may mga extension na binigay ng WADA. So what needs to be done to prevent this from happening again, assuming na we've already corrected all the mistakes?
Sige, I'll answer. The case of the Philippines is not unique. Okay, other countries within Southeast Asia, and if the good journalist kanina was citing Angola, no, you have other countries who are experiencing this right now. Because we, especially since the Philippines, you know, we do have challenges with regards to your budget, the operations, and everything. And we do understand that PHINADO has to be operationally independent. So we would look at this opportunity right now as something as forward-looking because it allows PHINADO to be empowered. Okay, it allows now that you have stakeholders who are now more conscious of what needs to be done with regards to doping within the country, and having a organization like PHINADO to enforce it, right? So that's why we have the stakeholders now at the table. The legislation through the lawmakers, they're helping us. Through the Office of the President, they're helping us. We have POC and the NSAs who are now more collaborative in order for PHINADO to move to its desired state to be operational independent. No? So if we have that in place, then rest assured that we will not have these administrative or compliance issues moving forward. So I hope that answers your question.
Nathan ako ulit. Oo. Ano ang kaso ng boxer? Kasi we have several other athletes, no? Meron sa isang basketball player na na-suspend ng 16 months. Merong isang recently yung best player natin na nag-self-inflict penalty, no? Oo, siya na yung mismong nag-take ng Yung itong boxer na to, bakit non-conformities yung pinapakaw ng WADA? Ano yung kulang? Ano yung hindi natin na susunod dun sa sa hinihingi ng WADA?
Again, napasa lang po yung case amin. So we don't have any jurisdiction. Babalik po dun sa jurisdiction kasi. And we don't really have the details right now. I don't have the details right now because that's a different department of PHINADO who's handling it. But in terms of it, again, it's just hindi namin siya hawak because he's a professional athlete.
Just a follow-up question. And of course, baka tinatanong, Nathan, you're a graduate of sports science from USP. How many years or months ka na with PHINADO?
I started as a doping control officer 2019 SEA Games.
Ah,
And then dire-diretso na po yun. I've also been an international doping control officer for Vietnam SEA Games. I was the lead doping control officer for FIBA World Cup as well. So, yun pa.
So just to establish your credentials, baka may magtanong sino to? Of course, we're proud to stay, of course. Anyway, so again, medyo I may sound like a broken record. Up to now, there are no sanctions, no punishments, no penalties being levied at against the Philippines. So athletes in all, including Olympic hopefuls, can ease themselves knowing that they will be, in the event that they qualify, at the moment, well, kumbaga, they can kumbaga, compete for the Philippines under the Philippine flag at the moment, wherever the qualification tournaments or qualification competitions. So on that note, medyo may ano yan. Kamusta na Chairman? Since kasi this, as some of our colleagues raised, this is an Olympic year and a Paralympic year as well. So there are two hopefuls kasi kung what affects our Olympic hopefuls will also affect our Paralympic hopefuls. So far, kamusta naman sir yung ating support for all of these athletes or medyo lang, digressing a little with regards to their Olympic aspirations?
Yeah, for our PSC support to all the athletes, basically we are still continuing supporting them. We are in constant communication with the NSAs. We just finished our budget hearing for all NSAs, and also we have a lot of events coming up this year, hosting a lot of events. So we're also going to continue supporting all these NSAs who have hosting here in the Philippines.
Yeah, including the Asian Age Group Championships.
Yes,
coming.
that's around the corner. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, a good thing that it was mentioned Malacanang is helping.
Yes, we are working with Malacanang on the legislative requirements of WADA. I just, on a personal note, I just don't want to comply. We want to help PHINADO be one of the strong NADOs in the region. So we are actually asking help from Malacanang for funding for plantilla positions. Because right now, PSC cannot give plantilla positions. We tried actually transferring some of our employees to PHINADO, pero it's very technical, and they do also have to follow data privacy. So again, from the help of Malacanang will be greatly appreciated.
Nathan, okay. Yeah, okay, isa na lang. Nathan, just a follow-up. How can we compare the setup that we are having yung NADO natin dito sa Pilipinas to the other countries? Ganun din ba sa ibang bansa? They are fully supported by the national government giving them a separate budget, hindi kadugtong, let's say, nung sa ating National Sports Agency.
Yeah, I think the perfect example for this will be Indonesia, wherein they were non-compliant back in 2021 because of the same issue with Philippines but worse. That's what WADA said to us, and they said that because of that non-compliance, they were forced to establish their organization, build on it with their own funding, new plantilla positions for everyone in Indonesia. And that is also the end goal for PHINADO, that PHINADO will be empowered to be a entity in the near future.
Good morning, I'm Oscar Oida from GMA News. Pasensya na po, hindi po ako regular sports reporter. But coming here, ang impression ko with the issue is nagkukulang ang ating mga athletes, ang preparation, and apparently, nag-boil down siya sa administrative. So, kinukulang ang ating pondo to build up PHINADO. Parang ganun po ba, Chairman, yung nangyayari? And, sir?
Historically, when PHINADO was operating, so PHINADO did have adequate funding, but then the COVID came in. So, from a priority aspect, di ba? Obviously, our government was taking care of the millions of Filipinos who are here. So, there was a funding freeze with regards to ano. And also, before COVID, WADA was providing funding support for all the NADOs. But after that, they discontinued. So they left the responsibility domestically to the NADOs on how to fund their operations. Okay. So in a way, you are correct to say it's administrative. Operations, manpower, funding, budget, and everything. So yun nga yung PSC is helping PHINADO review like their processes so as to establish operational independence.
So, kumpiyansa po tayo na hindi maapektuhan nito yung ating mga preparasyon and yung pagsabak no, sa mga international competition.
Yes, so it's still business as usual for all the athletes. From now until June, those who are qualifying for Olympics, tuloy pa rin sila. And then para sa mga sports associations who are holding international or world competitions, for now, nothing is jeopardized.
Chairman, good morning. Good. Chairman, Chairman, Philippine Sports Commission would not suffer this predicament if the sports agency is meticulous and careful enough in every move, especially in national and international issues. So I couldn't understand in surmise why PSC why WADA aligned with PSC. Is there any law or provision that PHINADO is aligned with PSC? Who was the responsible chairman of that?
Well, with all the surprises I get, I'm 1 year in PSC, so this is one of the surprises. So I'm here actually to fix lahat ng surprises. So the next chairman cannot, wala nang problema yung next chairman. So again, PSC is actually helping PHINADO restructure, rebrand itself, and so that this will not happen again.
Chairman, is there a possibility perhaps that WADA should be detached or hiwalay sa PSC? Parang mawala na kayong problema.
That's actually what WADA wants. So that's why we're going to Malacanang to actually fix and how we can fix PHINADO being separate from PSC. Kasi as of now, ang trato namin sa kay PHINADO is parang an NSA. We just fund them. Okay? And I guess what the requirement is for it to be really independent.
Yes. Because WADA, PHINADO is a private agency under the jurisdiction of WADA. So PSC is government sports agency. That WADA or PHINADO in PSC should not go hand in hand because they should go separate move.
Yes, boy, is that a question? Pero are you telling me? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Kaya may government help kasi wala namang budget na magbibigay na independent sa PHINADO. Yeah. By the way, who is helping us sa Malacanang for these sports issues? Yes.
So we're Office of the President. So we've had meetings with the presidential management staff. We have another meeting with them this week. Office of the President mismo. Okay. But apart from that, we do have, we have a WADA representative coming in in April to have that concrete dialogue with the lawmakers to ensure that the legislation we have is compliant, whether they update. Because right now we have the 2021 code, but they're updating again in 2025. So we want to ensure that the legislation that we have will be relevant to the years to come.
Yes, okay. Just for the record, Nathan, the Philippines complied in the previous codes because as you've said, every, ano ba yan, Olympic cycle, may ibang code si WADA?
No, the code, the last code before 2021 was 2015 code.
Okay.
So yun, technically every 7 years siya dapat, 6 to 7 years. So the next code would, actually it's already, they're already revising it as of now. WADA is revising it as of now. But it will be, they will show the code on 2025, it will take effect in 2027. So yeah, there will be a WADA symposium first to present it on 2025 with all the heads of the anti-doping organizations there to discuss the matter. And yeah, kailangan din ma-approve siya. So with that.
Yes. Hindi ba ang NADO in charge of all the sports? Kaya professional yan, kaya amateur? Because we are now open sports, even in the Olympics. Diba? Pro and amateurs are competing.
Not really. That's actually the loophole of IOC in terms of amateurs. Especially, perfect example for that would be basketball, wherein they allow professional athletes to compete for their country, but for other sports, they don't allow professional athletes to compete. So that is the only loophole that WADA has if it's under jurisdiction yung professional athletes.
Yes, Chairman?
Yeah, you have to understand that boxer, he was a pro event, not part of the national training pool. He was a pro already since 2008. So it doesn't really fall under the jurisdiction of PHINADO. That's why we have gap there.
Okay. More than the funding and other issues dito, hindi ba mas massive information ang kailangan natin about anti-doping rules dito sa bansa natin, national athletes, national officials?
I do totally agree. There should be a re-communication of PHINADO anti-doping to everyone, especially the NSAs and the athletes.
I'd also like to reiterate, lost in this discussion, PHINADO is in charge of doping education. So actually, the PHINADO is highly respected when it comes to educating stakeholders, athletes, and all that when it comes to education. So the education part, that is part of PHINADO's mandate. So that's something that they're constantly doing.
Yeah. Just like what Edie said, education is also part of it. It's actually part of the code compliance as well. So it was checked off immediately. There were no questions asked with the education, which is the good part for NADO, for our NADO.
Chairman, ilang beses nang nabanggit si professional boxer na ilang beses na rin nabanggit na wala sa jurisdiction nyo. Pero meron ba kayo naririnig kung meron ng corrective measures na ginagawa dito sa kaso niya?
Papatulugin ko na itong issue na to, pun intended. So once again, for the corrective action on the professional boxer, so we have already submitted our position paper disputing that the boxer is not the jurisdiction of the PSC. Kasi nga professional siya, he was neither a amateur nor a national team member, and that the fight, there are various points of the fight took place abroad. It was handed over to us. He's a professional fighter and all that. So we've already submitted our position paper. And the submission of this position paper was actually guided by WADA Legal. Okay. So if we are able to if WADA is able to side with our dispute or position paper, then yes, this could be checked off immediately.
Lito Oredo.
Yeah, Chairman, Yamir Marshall is fighting pro and then comes back to amateur. How can we set some measures with that? Kasi baka mamaya naglaro si Yamir sa pro, bigla siyang na-doping doon. Di madadali tayo. Yung kayo ba sa PSC, are you looking at setting some meetings with GAB with regards to that? Kasi hindi natin alam, baka biglang matamaan si Jumir sa amateur, or pag lumaban sa pro, biglang doon tamaan. Hindi natin alam.
Yeah, just to clarify with that, medyo technical po siya in terms of the testing aspect. So there is, in every testing, there's always a testing authority. So kung sino ang testing authority, siya ang namimili kung sino ite-test. And then there's also results management authority. So kung nag-positive siya, whoever is the results management authority, doon pupunta po yung case. So that's why very special case yung nangyari sa atin, kasi the results management authority, walang lead dun sa positive case, kaya pinasa na lang bigla sa NADO kasi nga Filipino siya. But in terms of that part, that is how WADA makes sure that regardless kung pro or amateur siya, whoever is the testing authority and the results management authority, dun mapupunta yung case na yun.
This question is directed to PHINADO. You know, there are athletes use pills or capsules prescribed by their doctors but not known by PHINADO. I encountered this issue because I wrote 2 articles. The last one is cyclist. He was punished by PHINADO because he used, according to PHINADO, it's a banned substance, but it was prescribed by his doctor. And the manager of that cyclist wanted to file libel case against me. So, how can you solve that issue?
Okay, with regards to that, it's also another technicality for testing. Every year there is a prohibited list being published by WADA, and every October, that is where WADA publishes it. It will take effect January 1 of the following year. Now, in terms of if an athlete needs to use that prohibited substance, they have the right to apply for a therapeutic use exemption.
Well, if an athlete use pills or whatever it is prescribed by his doctor, is he obliged to inform PHINADO?
Yeah, that is actually the right of the athlete to apply for a therapeutic use exemption para gamitin yung prohibited substance na yun. But it will still be under the therapeutic or the TUE panel if they will allow it. Because the TUE panel may recommend a different medications that are not part of the prohibited list that can still be taken by the athlete para maiwas.
In addition to my question, are doctors know that all substance they take by athletes should known to them according to PHINADO representative?
There is what we call a principle of strict liability, wherein the athlete and only the athlete is responsible to whatever they take. So it is not the doctor's job, it is the athlete's job to know and to tell and educate their doctors, their nutritionists, and other support staff regarding prohibited lists.
Thank you so much.
Just to be safe na for all NSAs or athletes to go through PHINADO to get a green light. Even the financial assistance of all NSAs when they ask PSC for funding for vitamins or that, I always pass it on to PHINADO to check those vitamins kung ibibigay sa mga atleta.
To Nathan of PHINADO, up to what level is your cooperation with the Games and Amusement Board? Because is it really safe to say that a sweeping statement that with PHINADO only amateur and GAB professional? Because there are, let's say in boxing, there are how many? About 5 world organizations for boxing. And one organization can always request WADA to take care or to manage one of theirs. So it's professional. No? So if
WADA only recognizes FINADO. It will not talk with you.
In terms of that, that question po kasi is, again, kung professional po siya, and then they're under the association. The association, usually for professionals, they're also WADA signatory.
They can always request
Yes.
WADA to
WADA.
also take care of
And
the-
that actually happens. There are international doping control officers that goes to the Philippines and test professional athletes.
Yes.
So again, it is not based on our rules, PHINADO rules. They're not under our watch.
But
they're
it's WADA rules.
Yes, but they are not under our watch because they are under the association, umbrella ng professional
So
association.
it's really crucial yung usapan niyo.
Yeah, whoever is the
With GAB.
testing authority, yun talaga yung jurisdiction. So,
Let me repeat. No? For example, the World Boxing Council. The World Boxing Council always have events in different countries. Let's say, may laban sa, let's say Japan. A Filipino is fighting for the WBC international crown. WBC is signatory of WADA. Example, no? Kasi ni-request nila yung WADA to be involved. So that athlete, that particular professional boxer, now, dadaan yan sa dapat dumaan sa FINADO or GAB. Yun yung parang crucial siguro. Na
that
usapan
is
nila.
under WBC. Wala kaming kinalaman. Again, we'll just go back with PHINADO rules. We stay with PHINADO rules because that is, yun lang yung cover po namin. We are a national anti-doping organization alone. So, yun po yan.
Okay.
Good morning po. For PHINADO po, clarificatory lang po. No? Ang under WADA po ba, ang rules differ for every sport or uniform po ba? Meron po bang rule, mga bawal na substances pero pwede sa ibang sport?
No po. For the World Anti-Doping Code, so all of the signatories should follow the World Anti-Doping Code. So all of the rules of the signatories should be aligned with the World Anti-Doping Code. So it will stay the same for every signatory of all sports, international federations, national anti-doping organizations.
Meaning wala pong substance na pwede sa isang sport pero bawal sa isa?
Yes.
Okay. Ang mahirap lang po kasi pag sa ganitong issues is when the failed test comes after the competition, especially if nanalo na po ng medal. Napakasakit if we will be stripped of medals, lalo na po pagdating sa Olympics or Asian Games where medals do not come in trickles.
Now that the chairman or PSC has been actually meeting with PHINADO and WADA, what I do want to improve is just a message to the athletes and the NSAs to take PHINADO seriously, because there's one example would be like the athletes in the training in the pool that have to be tested. They actually have to plug in their app in whereabouts. Okay, some athletes actually don't take it seriously. They just plug in an area, but they're not actually there. And when PHINADO goes and have them tested and they're not there, it's just strike one. When they reach strike 3, then they're banned for 2 years. Okay, we have an athlete, I won't mention names, I won't mention the sport, that's actually strike 2 already. Okay, and PHINADO has been emailing the NSA on the issue, pero hindi sumasagot. So that's where we actually have to change also and give PHINADO some teeth. Na they can actually know. Because I'm not willing to sacrifice one athlete for the not having a flag in the Olympics, diba?
Good morning, sir. This is a very technical question. Medyo release muna ako ng konti to Mr. Nathan. I would like to ask, ano po ang stand ng PHINADO or ng WADA regarding medical cannabis kasi medical cannabis is being legalized here. Medical cannabis.
Well, we follow the prohibited list, and under the prohibited list, cannabis is banned during in competition. So when we say in competition period, it's 11:59 p.m. before the fight up until matapos yung fight, or they get notified after the fight that they're being tested. Yeah.
That's the stand of PHINADO and WADA.
Yes.
Pero,
It's banned in competition. So
during training, paano yung training?
okay, regarding that part, if they tested positive for that, they will not be suspended. However, we are obliged to report if ever, since the rules of the Philippines will still cover the athlete.
Will that affect participation?
Well, of course, it's a criminal case. It will be a criminal case.
But if it's already legalized as...
If hypothetically it will be legalized, then
legalized,
then yeah. But if it's in competition, that's not positive, that's when they get suspended.
Okay. So this is a technical question kasi WADA is still in the list of WADA of banned substances, di ba? Yes, okay. Pero look at, okay, thank you.
Oh, pare, training tayo, pare.
Isa lang, follow up. Yes, okay. Chairman. Yes. Okay. Chairman mentioned about a particular case earlier. Is that the biological passport procedure, yung sinasabi ni Chairman?
No po. Athlete biological passport in layman's term is the blood testing.
Okay.
So we test blood, we test urine. So yun po ang main two tests that we do for PHINADO.
How about yung, you will register because you are being monitored?
Yeah,
what kind of test is that?
For that one, that is the registered testing pool.
Okay.
So registered testing pool is the elite athletes of Philippines. They are required to be tested at least 3 times a year.
3 times a year.
At least. So minimum 3 times a year. Because of that, they have to submit their whereabouts kung nasan sila.
Yeah. What do you mean by elite athletes of the Philippines? All the Olympians?
We have our risk assessment. We have it depends on the risk assessment of the sport. It depends on the performance of the athlete. And it depends on the performance and the risk assessment. So, if magaling yung athlete, and then there is a possibility, may history na doping dun sa sport na yun, most probably matetest siya.
It still stands, no? Yung palang, like for example, medical use, pwede naman yun kung mayroong prior request or
therapeutic use exception. But then again, panel pa rin, the TUE panel will still decide if they're allowed to use it.
Okay.
Nathan, please confirm, merong WADA na darating dito sa atin?
Yeah, on April, he's part of the code compliance team, and he wants to talk to our lawmakers to enhance the legislation being crafted right now.
Okay. Last question is, how confident are we na before March 11, close na tong case na to?
Before March 11? Actually, March 11 is...
So, eto na lang. We're confident that we will be resolved, no? All the points. Yung importante kasi, if the 4 points were mentioned, diba? The first point, which is about the testing distribution plan. Yung sa plano kasi na yon, kailangan makita ng WADA that the Philippines is following through, that it's very consistent with regards to the plan that it has set. So that hindi pwede naman mag-approve ang WADA as part of a knee-jerk reaction dahil lang for compliance, di ba? We want to ensure na yung Pilipinas, January, February, March, April, May, June, until December, mag-follow through yan. But having said that, if let's say naman yung Philippines, let's say for the first 6 months, which is probably like the window that we're looking at, no? We're hoping that it will be less. Sana by March or April we get cleared. But the reality of it is, WADA needs to be shown. No, we need to prove ourselves that yes, we will follow through with the urine and blood testing that is required of the Philippines for all the quotas and the athletes that is required. So, to answer po you know, we'd like resolution by March, whether before, during, after March 11. Pero that's something that, you know, only WADA will be able to decide.
Questions? Okay, yes. Ivan.
Sir Nathan, siguro to clarify lang din sa natanong ko po earlier, given what happened po sa situation na to, ano po yung nakikita niyo measures to make sure na in the future hindi na po mangyayaring ganito, or if ever man po madali pong maremedyohan? Just like what Chairman said a while ago, in terms of our operational independence, we need to be like how Indonesia is right now, na they're working well right now as an entity alone and operating well in their anti-doping activities. So that is the end goal, that PHINADO will be empowered. PHINADO will be an operational independent organization that can run the anti-doping activities nationally. Thank you.
And that operational independence, yun ang isisiguro ng WADA official na pupunta dito kasi nga yung inaayos ng mga legislators as regards how the national government would be able to give funding to our PHINADO.
Yeah, from legislation to funding to plantilla positions, by the time he arrives, dapat ma-set na yun.
Yun po ba ay magiging through EO sa Malacanang executive order?
Right now, we're requesting for an EO. So the EO is short term to address the current situation. But the legislation is there to address the long term. So once again, the end goal is for PHINADO to be operational independent, to have the proper budget, to have the proper manpower, and the proper empowerment for them to function as the national anti-doping organization of the Philippines.
Do you have a timeline for the EO?
Siguro you can ask us after Friday.
After this Friday?
After Friday, yes.
Okay. Okay, last questions from Bong.
Last question. Question lang. Last question.
Isa lang, syempre. Anyway, presently, ilan ang staff ninyo sa Nathan sa PHINADO para makita nila yung presently yung active. Okay na.
Currently we have 2 plantilla positions.
Okay. Which are doping control officers yan?
No. One is doping control officer. One is part of the administrative operations.
Okay.
We have 3 COS. Oh, sorry, 2. Dalawa na lang kaming COS. Both
In
are...
other words, doping control officer ka na, pero COS ka pa rin. Ganun ba yan?
Yes. Doping control officers, they're also part of the testing department. So sila yung nag-test they're doing the test distribution program. We have 3 consultants. So, yep.
Okay. Meron ka pa? Isa pa? Okay. Huli na po talaga to.
Chairman para sa ito. Since PHINADO is aligned with PSC, what is the annual budget of PHINADO to PSC? Also, apart from using free of building?
Again, they asked for Doc Pineda proposed a 48 million budget. What was approved was only 10 million.
Okay, so thank you so much. To wrap up this session, please, PHINADO Officer Nathan, address all our Team Philippine members and likewise yung mga fans natin na, you know, very much in a way, medyo worried dito sa nangyayari na ito. Please do.
Yeah, again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. We also like to thank the Office of the President for helping us, PSC, POC, the Congress, Senate, who's been helping us, trying to make it as quick as we can to check off everything. And rest assured that we are working hand in hand with WADA and as well as PHINADO to really strengthen our operations in PHINADO so that everything will be okay.
Thank you. Executive Director Paulo Tatad, please.
So once again, thank you, media, for hearing us out, for giving this opportunity for us to air any concerns. Once again, all the stakeholders from the Office of the President, to your Senate, to your House of Representatives, to your POC, NSAs, yours truly sa PSC, and together with PHINADO, no, we're ensuring that we would want to empower PHINADO. So as, let's say, you know, we will never have this issue again, or at least we minimize having compliance issues. So as your athletes, regardless if it's an Olympic year or not, will be able to compete, and if they podium, they will see that Philippine flag fly
Yes.
during the medal ceremony.
Additional message from Chairman Richard Bachman.
My third again, maraming salamat for coming, and we will update you after Friday again. All right? Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, sir. Gentlemen, we're praying that everything will be settled in time. This has been your PSA Sports Forum. God bless.